Welcome back to the channel, everyone. My name is Devin, and today we're going to be talking about the new movie Cocaine Bear. I was very fortunate to be invited by Universal to the New York screening at the Whitby Hotel, and I personally love this movie. In this video, there will of course be spoilers. I'll be explaining the movie, talking about the plot, and the original true story of Cocaine Bear. First off, Universal is really pushing this movie. I was invited to the Whitby Hotel, and we had an open bar, we got popcorn, candy, got some nice photos, and then we went and watched the movie in an awesome theater. It is here where I got this awesome shirt, and they also sent me this when I got back to my house. It's a Cocaine Bear duffel bag, and there was a lot of goodies in there as well, so thanks Universal. Now, although I did get a special invite to the screening, I am not biased at all, and I freaking love this movie. If you love a movie with a lot of R-rated comedy and a lot of gore, Cocaine Bear was for you. I gave this movie 4 out of 5 stars on Letterboxd. I just can't give it a 4.5 or a 5, even though I'd like to, just because it is a funny, silly story. This is not peak cinema where you're going to get captivating acting, cinematography, and all that. It's not everything everywhere all at once, but it is freaking hilarious. Now, Cocaine Bear is inspired by a true story because in 1985, a black bear ate a ton of cocaine. Something I loved in the beginning of the film was that it flashed back to a lot of the news stories that happened in 1985. Back in 1985, Andrew C. Thornton II was a real person who was a former narcotics officer turned drug smuggler. He came up with a scam of smuggling drugs from Colombia into the US by dropping the packages of cocaine out of a plane into the Tennessee Valley in Georgia. On September 11, 1985, Thornton and an accomplice took off from the South American country in an autopiloted Cessna 404 Titan plane stuffed with tons of coke. The pair dropped some in northern Georgia and then ditched 40 containers in the wilderness of the Chattahoochee National Forest. The FBI believed that the plane was way too heavy, so they threw some of the cocaine out. Just like in the film, Thornton was supposed to jump out of the plane and parachute down, but his parachute malfunctioned after he hit the side of the plane. He plummeted to his death being found in a driveway. His body was found in Knoxville, Tennessee with $4,500 cash on it, some guns, and some knives. On December 23, 1985, they discovered a black bear dead in the forest. According to an autopsy, the bear had ingested 34 kilograms of cocaine or $2 million worth. The autopsy also said that the bear's stomach was just entirely full of cocaine and he probably died a very painful death. He overdosed on the cocaine, but in this movie, something else happens, so let's talk about the film. The movie starts out with a couple in the woods who are attacked by the bear. The woman is killed, and then we get a bunch of flashback scenes like I talked about to the original incident. And I personally love when movies do this. The mother in the movie, played by the talented Kerry Russell, has a daughter, and she has a friend named Henry. Her daughter and Henry say they're going to school, but they decide to skip and go into the woods. At the same time, there are 3 drug dealers. One is Sid, the other is Eddie, and the other is David. Sid is played by the late Ray Liotta, and this is one of his final movies. And he was one of my favorite characters from the film. David is played by O'Shea Jackson Jr., who is Ice Cube's son. And Eddie is Sid's son, but he's been struggling with some personal issues and breakups and is really down. The man who jumped out of the plane and died was one of Sid's men, and he lost his cocaine. So Sid needs Eddie and David to go to the forest and try and find where the cocaine was lost. Also in the forest is the park ranger as well as the park fire safety guy. And I absolutely love these 2 characters. They were super funny, and I was honestly laughing like this entire movie. Sari's daughter and Henry go into the woods, and this is where they find the cocaine. Henry even jokes around that he's had cocaine before. The 2 of them put some cocaine in their mouth before spitting it out. But this is when they see that something had gotten into the cocaine, and then the bear pops out. The bear then takes the daughter and Henry runs away. David and Eddie then arrive at the forest and he goes to the bathroom. He gets jumped in the bathroom by 3 guys who are terrorizing people in the forest, and he gets stabbed before beating the crap out of all of them. They then take one of the boys who tried to beat them up into the woods because he said he knew where their cocaine was. Sari, the mother, who is very concerned about her daughter, finds a map in her daughter's backpack leading to the forest. It is there where she meets up with the park ranger and the park safety guy, and they head into the forest to try and help her. From this moment on, it is just total freaking chaos in this movie. When the 3 of them get to the middle of the forest, they find Henry right away, and he's at the top of a tree. He warns them that there was a bear and that the daughter was taken. And every time, my favorite part of this entire movie was when the bear was on the screen. I got the same feeling that I had when I watched the movie It. Every time Pennywise was on the screen, it was like my favorite part. When that bear was on the screen, my eyes were glued to the screen. The R rating for this movie was so great. If this movie was PG-13, it would have been terrible because the gore was insane. The bear climbs a tree, kills the park safety guy, rips the back of the leg of the park ranger, and Henry and the mom are able to escape. The park ranger was able to make it back to her station, and she finds the two guys who were beat up by David. And I love that she thought that the bear had attacked them too. And when the bear shows up and one of the boys opens the door, she shoots him right in the head. In my theater, you could just hear the reactions, and I loved this part. They did not hold back one bit, and I feel like this is something that should have been in the movie Megan this year, because I really didn't like Megan because it wasn't gory. After she shoots one of the gang guys, the other gang guy closes the door and the bear grabs him through the door and kills him as well. A few minutes later, the ambulance that the two guys had called arrives. They find the dead body and the park ranger behind the desk. While one of the medics tends to the park ranger behind the desk who is barely speaking and traumatized, the other opens the door to another room. It is here where he finds the bear and the other dead body. He closes the door quickly and the bear launches through the door. The other medic was able to get the park ranger into a stretcher and they make it into the ambulance, while the guy medic runs and jumps into the ambulance as well, but then the bear chases them. And this was definitely my favorite part of the entire movie. I didn't expect a giant bear chase scene on the road, but we got one anyway. The bear, who is high as hell on cocaine, jumps into the ambulance and somehow makes it in. He cuts the hand of one of the medics and his hand is just hanging like this. And one of the best parts is that the park ranger flies out and smashes her head onto the road. And I say the best part just because it was such a brutal kill, I did not expect it. While strapped into the stretcher, she flew out of the ambulance and just landed right on her face, and I just was like, oh, and everyone in the theater was like that. The other medic, she crashes right into a tree and flies through the window and dies on impact. This was a scene that stuck with me throughout the entire movie because I was like, we need more scenes like this, and we honestly did. This was my number one scene from the movie, and it just kept with me the whole night. Right before this happened though, one of the detectives arrived and went into the forest. He was on the scene where the man had fallen out of the plane, and he headed into the woods to try and find the cocaine. He knew that Sid Dentwood was going to go for the cocaine as well. He was able to find the red duffel bag before David, Eddie, and the other guy got to it. David pulled a gun on him and he shot 2 of his fingers off, and they were going to have a face-off, but then the bear arrived. The bear fell asleep right on top of Eddie, but when the cocaine fell out of David's pocket, the bear went straight for it, and they were able to distract the bear when the detective threw a bunch of cocaine down, and it was like snowing cocaine on the bear. The detective then gets shot by Sid Dentwood. Dentwood had gone into the woods after Eddie and David were taking way too long. Also, this wasn't important to the plot at all, and I'm not sure why they included it, but one of the cops who was the assistant of the detective, she betrayed him and became part of Dentwood's gang, I guess. She showed up to the forest and it was kind of showing that she betrayed him, but I didn't really care about her, and that's one of the few things that I was like, why was this in the movie? Sid Dentwood is really mad at Eddie and David, even though David had just lost his fingers, because they need the duffel bag and the bear just took it. Throughout the movie, the mom was looking for the daughter with Henry, and she was leaving clues because the daughter liked to draw and paint, and she was leaving clues around to kind of give her a trail to where she was. They also found her jacket, and with the help of the man who lost his wife earlier on in the movie, in the opening scene, they were able to find the cave. When the mom and Henry enter into the cave, they find cocaine cubs now because they were eating the cocaine, but they do find the daughter as well. At the same time, Sid, David, Eddie, and the other cop that betrayed the department arrive at the cave. And there was also a quick flashback, and the bear had devoured the face of the man who had helped the mom and Henry, who had also lost his wife earlier on in the film. With the bear coming, the mom knows that the only way out of the cave for her daughter and Henry is to go towards the ledge, and there is a waterfall there. There's then a 3-way battle between the drug dealers, the mom, and the kids, as well as the bear and her cubs. Eddie, who doesn't seem interested at all in his dad's drug stuff all throughout the movie, tells his dad to give it up, and he basically says that if he doesn't get the cocaine, they'll come after his family, they'll come after everyone he knows and he loves. So he is still dedicated to get this cocaine, which is hanging from a branch right above them. When the cocaine bear arrives, everyone but Sid jumps into the water, and Sid accidentally shoots David right in the neck while shooting at the bear. Sid then faces off in a 1v1 with the cocaine bear. He initially knocks the bear off a ledge, and the bear falls below to a smaller ledge. After he knocks the bear down below, he grabs the cocaine from the duffel bag, but when he's reaching, the cocaine falls, hits the rocks, and cocaine goes right onto the bear, and this is when the bear goes off again. The bear gets the high from the cocaine once again, and climbs the whole entire mountain and kills Sid. He rips his organs out, and the cubs come over, who are also still high on cocaine, and eat his organs. So, in his final movie before his death, Ray Liotta is killed by a cocaine bear. You couldn't have written it up any better, and I'm sure he absolutely loved it. I know he loved the look of the bear. He did pass away, though, a few weeks after recording his post-production dialogue for the movie. Now, I know it's very unfortunate, but I'm sure Ray Liotta loved filming this movie. This seemed like a character that he embraced, and he was one of my favorite characters from the entire film. He did not give a crap about anyone, just wanted the cocaine, and he was going to do anything he could till the end, and he even fought off the cocaine bear for a while. In the end, the survivors are Sari, her daughter, Henry, Eddie, and David is able to live. David was saved because Sari was a nurse and was able to patch up, I guess, the bullet. Also, not important to the plot at all, but the cop who betrayed the department, she just left when she got to the cave and they let her go. And in the end, she just gave the dog to Eddie. And I guess she was just there to give Eddie the dog. Like I said, I didn't understand her character in the movie whatsoever. So that's Cocaine Bear. They make it out. A lot of people die. The cocaine bear goes absolutely nuts for an hour and 30 minutes, and I absolutely loved it. Now, I know some people may not like this movie if they do not love R-rated humor and a lot of gore, but this was fun for me. I knew exactly what I was going to get myself into, and I'm so glad that they made this movie. I loved the three storylines going along with the park ranger, the drug dealers, and the mom, and I felt that this was a funny movie that I would 100% watch again with some friends, maybe at a sleepover at a friend's house, but I did love it in the theater. So let me know in the comments, what did you think of the movie Cocaine Bear? I personally loved it. Thank you so much to Universal once again for inviting me and sending me that cool package, and let me know in the comments. So thanks for watching my video today, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.